margin and color. So the margin property is used to create space around the elements outside of any defined borders. So it is the linchpin for positioning elements. So whenever you want to move something a little, the margin property should be your first thought. When having layout problems, it is the first thing you should check. So the margin can be a bit confusing. Depending upon context, it will space an item away from its immediate neighbors in the HTML or from the edges of its parent. Also, there is not only one margin property but 5. So here's an example of how you can use margin. So you can just say margin, use margin with a value, let's say 10 pixel. So what this means is that a 10 pixel margin will be applied around all 4 sides of the item. And you can also use margin left, so this will be applied on the left side only, or margin right, margin top, and margin bottom. The color property can be used to set the color, set the text color of an element. So there are several possible formats for the value. So first is the named color. So this is the first way to format value. So there are scores or some different names. So the most common English names for colors are all supported, like blue, yellow, red, and others. So one of the more interesting is transparent, which will make the text invisible. However, if you want to make an HTML element invisible, then the display with a display property with a value of none, or visibility property with a value of hidden, rules are preferred than for an HTML element to be invisible. Another way to set the value is using the RGB or RGBA. So these are examples of how you can use this kind of value. So generally, any color on a computer is exactly specified by mixing 3 components together. So these are red, green, and blue. So RGB. The amount of each component falls within a range of 0 to 255. So the RGB function can be used to specify any color. So parentheses are required and commas between each component. So just like with this. So here, if you set it all, to all zeros, then the color is black. So similarly, the RGBA function can be used for semi-transparent colors. So the 4th value is the alpha channel. Okay, that's the A in RGBA. and this means opacity. So it is a number between 0 and 1. So for example, 0.5. So here you can set values for the red, green, and blue, and an opacity of 0.5, or this will look semi-transparent. The third way is to use the hex code. So just like with this, you set the value of this value to the property color. So this is quicker than the lengthy RGB function and is simply providing an hexadecimal code. So this always starts with a pound sign or hashtag sign and is followed by 3 pairs of hex numbers, so ranging from 0 to FF. So constructing RGB triplets is hard enough, and deciphering and generating hex codes is even larger. However, almost every editor and color picker will at least show you red, green, and blue values, and many have hex codes displayed as well. So there are sites that you can check the hex code of any color. You can type it to Google. So let's say hex color code, and here there are websites that could show you the hex code for any color. So for example, with this color, so this is the hex code of that. You can just copy it and paste it to your CSS code.